Welcome to our second Easter reflection this Tuesday of Holy Week, and today we reflect on the passage where Jesus washes the feet of his disciples. Easter is a time where we as Christians remember that Jesus died for us and rose up to life again. As we reflect this week, we'll be focusing on our senses to help us experience the Easter story in a new way, to remember just what Jesus did for us. Today we'll reflect on the sense of touch as we explore the passage in which Jesus washes the feet of his disciples, and in doing so challenges us all as Christians to a life of service. Our reading is John 13 verses 1 to 17, and as I read it, close your eyes and imagine that you're sitting in the room with Jesus and the disciples. Focus on the sense of touch. Think about what you can feel as you're in that room. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave the world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that he had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around them. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you will have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who have a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew that Judas Iscariot was soon to betray him. When he had finished washing his feet, he put on clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I've done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." I wonder what things you felt while you were listening to that passage. For me, I can just feel those dry, dusty feet. Sandals were so common in the Middle East when Jesus was around. It was what everyone would have worn, and the ground was hot and dry and dusty. And therefore it was common for guests to have their feet washed by servants when they arrived at a household. And I don't know about you, but I can imagine that horrible dusty feet feeling so clearly. In fact, I remember so vividly because I was that person when I was a child who could not deal with dusty feet. I wore socks and sandals. I was that person. I just hated having dusty feet so much when we were on holiday. So I can really understand that the disciples would just be desperate for that relief of getting their feet washed, of feeling clean and comfortable. They'd be looking forward to the moment when the cool water touched their feet, making them feel hydrated and clean, to the touch of the cloth that dried them, perhaps slightly rough, making them feel refreshed and restored. However, the really important thing that leaps out to me is not the what, the act of foot washing, but the who. Jesus, the Son of God, the Messiah, washing the feet of his followers, doing the job of a household servant. Jesus' ministry was characterised by its sacrificial nature. If we think about the sacrifices of Jesus, we usually, go straight to the cross. But actually his whole ministry was one of self-sacrifice. When he was exhausted and just wanted some peace and quiet to reflect, the crowd still followed him. He could have sent them away again, but instead he fed them, and that was the feeding of the 5,000. When he was touched by the woman with the bleeding, the disciples wanted to reprimand the woman, to make her go away, but Jesus had mercy on her, and he gave of himself and healed her. And when his disciples met for a meal, he was the one who washed their feet. In a lot of ways, Simon Peter's response was totally understandable. It's difficult to accept help. It's hard to humble yourself to let someone help you, particularly in such an intimate way as having your feet washed. The disciples would know that this is a job done by a servant, the lowest in the hierarchy, so to have Jesus doing it would have felt really uncomfortable, maybe even disrespectful. Do you think the disciples felt tense as Jesus began to wash their feet? Do you think they felt the love and comfort in his touch? The creator of the world, washing the feet of mortal men. How is this passage connected with you today? Do you accept Jesus' touch in your life? Do you tense up when Jesus tries to wash you clean? We're just going to end with a prayer. Unless I wash you, you have no share with me. If only it were otherwise. If only I could present my credentials, show my record of service and get some kind of unlimited pass. In every area of my life, I am more used to proving how adequate I am, presenting a polished image, gaining certain privileges. But you, Lord, you bring me down to where you are kneeling and take hold of the feet I prefer to hide. We are here together near the ground, and in this humble position I am touched by you and made clean. Amen.